Hello, eighth grade parents, and welcome to the Heritage High School slideshow. I know you can't believe that you're here. I know that maybe you hoped this day would come or you weren't ready for this day to come. You're usually in one or two boats, but there's always a little bit of bittersweet, I think. Normally, we have this meeting here, you get to see the school. We're hoping as the pandemic hopefully lightens up. Maybe that's something that we can still do in the future. But for now, we're together on Zoom. So we have this. And I just want to start off by giving you a little bit of background, letting you know who all is here, um, who your administrators are, who your counselors are. So, Krista Tipton is our principal, Katie Jackson, our associate principal, Aaron Gabrish, our assistant principal for 10th and 12th graders, and then Nuka Canabolo is the assistant principal for our 9th and 11th graders. So he will be your student's assistant principal, your 8th grade student's assistant principal when they get here. Your counselors. So we are split alphabetically. We have 3 counselors here at Heritage. We have Brandy Just, and she's the counselor for last names A through G. Stacy Bailey is our counselor for last names H through P. And me, I'm Tiffany Gomez, and I'm the counselor for last names Q through Z. Amanda Thomas is another important person. She is our college and career liaison, but also does other things for us in the office from time to time, so you may be hearing from her. Michelle Logan is our registrar and PEAMS clerk, and Jason McLaughlin, he is our diagnostician. Brenda Jenkins is the nurse, Aaron Cruz is the receptionist, and Patty Champion is our attendance clerk. We have a fabulous staff here who will take really good care of you. Our agenda tonight, we have some important dates. We're going to talk about endorsements, personal graduation plans, other grad requirements, GPA, and the TEA toolkit. So on January the 6th, which if you're watching this is either today or a day in the future, the Heritage High School counselors have already come into the classrooms at Walnut Grove and explained course selection process and given instructions for filling out the course selection sheet. Then we're going to answer student questions and just kind of guide them through the process of the sheet. The 8th grade parents obviously received an email. You have the course fair slideshow, the 9th grade course selection sheet, and this 8th grade parent meeting that you're currently watching. So we're going to talk about this presentation. We'll mostly talk about the course selection sheet and just a few other things related to academics. So when you finish this, or maybe you watched it beforehand, check out the course fair slideshow. January 11th through the 15th, which is next week, Heritage High School counselors will meet individually with students to confirm their course selections and develop a 4-year plan, or what we call a PGP, or personal graduation plan. So this is the meeting where you're going to be getting an email from your Walnut Grove counselor. It's going to have a time slot, what's going to happen during that time. And again, because of the pandemic, we aren't inviting parents to the schools. We just weren't allowed. So what's going to happen is we will give you a call. We'll have your student there with us. We'll be using plexiglass and masks so that we're all safe in a large area. And we want to talk to you too. So if you're able, that's great. If you've already talked through all of this before that meeting with your student, that's also great because it's a lot to understand. So the more times they go over it, the better. So please be expecting that call and be mindful of others. Their time slots are small. So if you want an extended conversation with your counselor, you'll see those emails here at the end. Please just email your student's future counselor and set up an appointment. We could Zoom with you, we could call you over the phone. So we can set that up at a later date. And just remember that even though we may meet with you, let's say on a Monday, if we get your message that day, we're meeting with students all day. So we won't be able to get back in touch with you until after we come back to school the following week, which also has um, some holidays mixed in there. So just be patient with us. We will get back to you. The main thing is we get your courses right for the upcoming year. That's a priority. The other questions that you may have, and I'm sure you have a ton, can be answered as we move along. So just remember that you will always have access to us by email, and you're able to make appointments with us. So this is not your only chance to see us. So the first thing I want to talk about is the foundations plan plus the endorsement with the distinguished level of achievement. Now that is a mouthful, and basically what this means is your student is graduating on what the state of Texas, the highest level. Okay, and we're going to talk through that. So the foundation requirements are the basic requirements for the state of Texas. That's 22 credits. That includes 4 English, 3 math, 3 science, 3 social studies, and 2 language credits other than English, a PE credit, a fine art credit, and 5 total electives. The distinguished level of achievement means that you've met the 22 level credit, the basic foundation program, plus instead of 3, you've taken 4 credits in math, including algebra 2, 4 credits in science, uh, not just the 3, and at least 1 endorsement, which we'll talk about here in a second. These would be distinguished level of achievement. That's 26 credits, and they're eligible for top 10 automatic admissions to Texas public universities. So let's dive into endorsements. Here we go. Distinguished level of achievement. So we talked about that. And these are what we're talking about. So you can get an endorsement. Now, all MISD students, we advise them basically, when we advise them, we do a 4 by 4, 4 of each core, and then they are going to end up multidisciplinary based on the way that we automatically set them up. Now, we really do encourage them, however, to pursue a interest pathway, a career. So those things include STEM, business and industry, public services, and arts and humanities. There's so much to explore for your student. So we really encourage them to get started just to see if they like something, instead of when you get to college, you just take an intro class and you waste all that money and then you realize you didn't like it. So now we can do that in high school and we can explore the things that we may love, and we may think we love something and then we don't. And so then you choose a different one. And that's the beauty of this plan. So these are some of the things that your students can explore at Heritage High School. I won't go into all of them here, but as you can see, there's lots of ways to earn different endorsements through Heritage High School. So to earn an arts and humanities endorsement, you need 5 credits in social studies. So as I said, to be multidisciplinary, you only need the 4, so you're adding 1 more. Um, you could also do 2 languages. So you could do 2 credits in one language, 2 credits in another, or 4 years in the same language, or 4 credits. Um, so fine arts, you can do a lot of these things there. You can do 4 credits in music, band, theater, dance, art. So there's lots of ways to earn an arts and humanities endorsement, and it's probably the most common endorsement. Business and industry is probably the second most common. We have a lot of things to explore there. It's not just a business uh, entity. So, and then there's the STEM endorsement. There's a couple of ways to get that. A lot of kids end up with that because they take an extra math or they take an extra science. And then public services, law enforcement. There's so much to explore. Okay, PGP. You're going to hear that term thrown around. So that means personal graduation plan. So you can impress your friends when they say, "What is a PGP?" You know what it is. And this is what it's going to look like. So this is what the counselor is going to be filling out with your student while they're meeting at Walnut Grove. So when we call you on the phone, this is the document that we're going to be looking at. we're going to be talking to them about what classes they want to take while they're in high school. Now, are these set in stone? Absolutely not. Okay, these can be changed over and over and over again. And as we know, your child is young. They're just entering high school. They don't know exactly what they're going to be, what kind of student they may end up being. The light bulb may come on, and they may be a star student, or maybe they just focus on other things and they just want to do regular classes. They're busy with sports. That's okay. There's no judgment from us, but what I want to communicate to you is this is tentative and it can be changed. So based on where you guys are right now, what you've seen from your student academically, what's the plan? And so you'll see there that every grade level has room for the 4 cores. It has room for any courses you earned in high school, in middle school, I'm sorry, before you got here, and then 3 elective spots for every grade level. So that's because we're set up for a 7 period day, and our students can earn 3 electives outside of their core. Um, our juniors and seniors typically have a little extra room, so they can either pick up another interest. Some of them like to help others and be peer coaches or pal. Some kids just want a free period because they want that extra time to study or sleep or recover from all the things that they're doing. So that's just something to think about. Juniors and seniors are available to have. So it's a flexible 4-year plan. It's unique to every student. And like I said, we're gonna meet with them and talk about them in January. Okay, so a coherent sequence. So when you looked at those, the endorsement pathways, sorry, I blanked for a second. A coherent sequence. It just means that you took 2 courses in the same cluster and then 1 advanced course. So our restrictions have lightened up on that. You had to follow the path and take these specific classes. But now, as long as you take 4 CTE credits and 1 advanced course, then you're going to achieve what you needed. So this is a little bit complicated. So just stay tuned to your counselor for that. Basically, for right now, you guys just need to get started. So another additional requirement is 10 hours of community service. Currently, for our last graduating class, that was waived due to COVID. Hopefully, as time goes on, um, our students will be able to do community service again. We just really don't know, but as of right now, it's still there. So this is the community service form. This is anything that they do that they don't get paid for outside of chores for you. So this would be any volunteer work that they do. Satisfactory score on the following end of course STAR EOC exams. So some of these were waived for our students last year. As far as we know, the state of Texas plans to give these tests this year. So that is English 1, Algebra 1, Biology, English 2, and US History. So those are done at the end of those courses. So freshman year, there's 3. And then junior year, just the English 2 and US History, I'm sorry, sophomore year, English 2 and US History junior year. Students must pass each semester course with a 70 or higher to earn credit for the class. And they have to have 6 or more credits to promote to their sophomore year. And as you can see, this is how it breaks down. So it's a little bit different. Up until this point, your child has been promoted from grade to grade. Just based on a lot of different factors, but now it's credits. So we'll have a lot of people, maybe your child didn't quite meet the credit requirement to be a 10th grader. That does not mean they can't be in 10th grade classes as long as they've met the prerequisite. So let's say I failed Algebra 1 my freshman year and I didn't quite earn, and maybe a half of something else, and I didn't quite earn 6 whole credits. What's going to happen is I'll take it over or do it in summer school, and then I'll have enough credits to be considered a 10th grader. So I don't want you to freak out if you see like ninth grade on your students, something of your student, and you think they should be a 10th grader. Just remember that everything goes by credits. Freshman year course selection. So, like I said, there's 7 periods a day. You're going to have 4 cores and 3 electives, and you must list 2 alternate classes. So I'm going to walk you through the sheet that your students are bringing home. It's also attached to this email you're receiving. So I've kind of screenshot different pieces of the form for you. This is part 1, the core classes. So you've got English, math, social studies, and science. So you're basically going to pick one from each of these boxes. So as you can see, the asterisk means that these courses count toward weighted GPA and class rank. Um, Basically, that's just your core classes, okay? So if your child, for instance, already took Algebra 1, they'll select geometry or pre-AP geometry. That is a prerequisite. Um, our histories are open for you to choose either world pre-AP, or AP Human. And then for science, you're going to choose Biology 1 pre-AP, or IPC. IPC is Integrated Physics and Chemistry. This is a course that maybe your child struggles in math.
It's
Um,
8 o'clock.
and you don't really want them to have 3 EOCs to take as a freshman. Sometimes we'll do IPC. This course can replace chemistry. So if you think chemistry is going to be a booger for sophomore year, you might opt for IPC. So I would look at their grades in math and think about that. If that's really a struggle, you might want to opt for IPC, and then we could do biology the next year. Okay, part 2 is electives. And so you're going to select 3 total courses from sections A, B, and C. It's a lot of choices. We encourage every student to try to choose something from box C and start exploring their career interests. So this is where they're going to explore careers, and this is where the course fair slides are going to come in. So you're looking at all types of industries, all types of things that your students could do. Let's just help them figure out what they want to explore. So use the course fair slides to look at these classes and figure out, okay, my kid wants to be a teacher. That's education and training. My kid wants to be a doctor or a nurse or an EMT. That's principles of health science. Um, they want to go into business. They want to major in marketing. Okay, principles of business and marketing. They want to go into culinary. That's principles of hospitality and tourism. Okay, so there's so many things to explore here. They want to be an engineer, intro to engineering and design. So please, if you can, really talk to your kids about box C. You may ultimately come up with the fact that you don't want to choose anything from there, um, maybe until sophomore year. But we really do encourage our freshmen to get started because there's so many fun things that they can do if they follow a path for 4 years. Fine arts, every student needs one fine art to graduate, but your student may want to do something all 4 years. Um, Foreign language, you need 2 years required to graduate. So those are your choices there. And then athletics. So if you participate in cheerleading, you are going to get partial athletics credit. If you've already done athletics in middle school for 3 years, then you've already completed athletics 1. So you would be selecting athletics 2 and then listing your sports there for us. Okay. So just take some time, think this through. And that's why I really recommend you guys going through the courseware slides together. Part 3, you're going to list 2 backup classes for the elective options in part 2. So go back to the screen. If you're toying between 2 things, go ahead and put them down. The reason we do this is because our course requests drive our master schedule. So if we have, 50 kids request a class, then we'll build that many classes. But sometimes what happens is maybe only 4 kids request a class, and that was the one your kid wanted. So that doesn't typically happen to our freshmen, just because their courses are pretty readily available. But just in case, go ahead and put a couple of backups, and especially for those electives, and just kind of see, okay, well, maybe I'll change my mind. And if this isn't there, I'll take this. Or if art is full, I'll take theater. Part 4 is optional. Not everybody does try out for something, but if you are trying out for something, we want to know about that. It may be that you need more information about that activity. You don't know who to contact. You can just put, what are you trying out for, right there. And I would encourage you to be talking to your counselors at Walnut Grove about future tryouts that are coming up. And you can also reach out to us. Of course, that won't happen until probably the summer for most things. Your final course review, you need to write down all 7 classes. So we kind of gave you the subcategory to write there. It's just kind of for you to think through, okay, these are the most important 7. And then if you as parents could sign and date that, the student could sign and date and bring this document back when we have our PGP meeting sometime between January 11th and the 15th. Then we have everything we need to get your student registered for next school year and make sure that everything they requested gets counted in the count of classes that we need to build. Other things to think about. You want to challenge your students and consider their strengths, their passion, their goals when you make some decisions. So think about what kind of student you have. You know, don't we really recommend freshman year is an adjustment socially and emotionally. So academically, that also plays a part. So there's usually what they call a freshman slide. Grades slip a little bit, especially those first 3 weeks of school. So don't freak out if your kid's not doing as well. They're adjusting and they're trying to get the hang of high school and being so responsible for 7 classes. So with that in mind, you know, if your student struggles in any subjects, you know, maybe that's not the one to take a pre-AP in. Maybe that's the one you do regular this year. Um, so pre-AP prepares students for AP classes. AP classes, you're able to take college credit exams at the end of those courses, and some colleges will award college credit for those classes. And then dual credit is concurrent enrollment through Navarro College. Those courses require additional qualifications such as TSI testing. They cost additional money. So look into that before you jump in and choose all those things. Feel free to ask your counselor at that meeting, you know, what they recommend for your future goals. Only these subject areas will count for GPA and class rank for your students. So that is the core classes, and that is only the ones listed in Chapter 74. And that is linked for you in the academic planning guide. Each of those courses is highlighted in red. So if you're wondering what is a class, what is it about, is it in Chapter 74, you can go to the academic planning guide, which we linked here at the end of this presentation, and look it up and say, okay, yep, that one's in Chapter 74. I get it. That may be a little bit much information. Some of you aren't planning that far ahead, some of you are. So middle school courses do count for high school GPA and class rank. For example, Algebra 1 in the 8th grade. Now, here's an example. So Spanish 1 would not count because it is an elective. So while it would go into the student's 4-point GPA, it will not go into their class rank. So those are 2 different systems. All right, so weighted class rank determines obviously class rank. So where a student falls in the scale in accordance with their peers. So the classes have multipliers attached to them, and those grades and courses are multiplied by 1.15 for advanced classes, 1.10 for honors. That means pre-AP and dual credit classes, and 1.0 for regular. So the weightings have grown closer if you've had students come through Heritage or MISD before. This change was made a couple of years ago to allow our students to explore more activities that they love and not be hurt by electives, and you know, not penalize them so much for not taking an AP class, maybe you know, really focusing on what grade did they make. And this is a link to ESC local policy, and it talks about more in depth about the weighted GPA scales for your cohort and those previous to you. Here is what I was talking about, the academic planning guide. It shows you exactly what courses are about. If you're curious, there's a broader description in the academic planning guide. And this is just a little helpful overview for you. It's the TEA graduation toolkit. So this is great. And it's got a glossary. It's got things like, what does that word mean? This is a lot of information. So feel free to browse through this, read through this if you need more help. Not sure what happened there. Okay. So that's all I have for you, basically. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. I will ask that you be patient with us. We really do want to answer your questions. We know that they are burning questions. Normally at a parent meeting, we would stay after and we'd stand up there and you could come up and ask us questions. Unfortunately, we will be off campus, unable to access emails and such from the 11th through the 15th. We might see your email, but we can't really schedule meetings or do a extensive follow up until after that time. So be patient with us. We will get to you. We will get your email, and we will get back to you. It is important to us that we get your questions answered and that you feel prepared for high school. And we're more than happy to have a meeting with you guys. And January is hard for counselors. So we're going to be running hard until February 1st. Ms. Houchin and Miss Rogers, they love Starbucks, by the way, because they're going to be running hard too. So give them some extra love and thank you for all your time and attention today.